These random fun facts will entertain, enlighten, and totally blow your mind. In this video, you will find interesting facts that you'll want to share with everyone. Random fun facts catch us off guard in the best possible way. They're unexpected or unusual bits of knowledge from the worlds of science, history, and pop culture that delight and entertain us and anyone we share them with. But these interesting facts aren't just amusing pieces of information that will make you a whiz at answering trivia questions. They're legitimately fascinating, and once you get started, you'll want to keep watching until your curiosity is satisfied. Whether you're into weird facts that almost don't sound true, but totally are, random trivia, science trivia, animal trivia, cartoon trivia, movie trivia, or book trivia, you'll find plenty of new information here. And if you're looking for trivia questions for kids to entertain them during a family dinner or a long road trip, we've got plenty of those too. The world's oldest toy is a stick. Think of how versatile a stick is. You can use it to play fetch with your dog, swing it as a bat, or use your imagination to turn it into a lightsaber. That's why, in 2008, the National Toy Hall of Fame inducted the stick into its collection of amazing toys as very possibly the oldest toy ever. But wait, we aren't done with interesting facts just yet. This is just the beginning. A one-armed player scored the winning goal in the first Soccer World Cup. Hector Castro, who accidentally cut off his right forearm while using an electric saw as a teenager, played on the Uruguay soccer team during the first ever World Cup in 1930. In the last game between Uruguay and Argentina, Castro scored the winning goal in the last minute of the game. The final score was 4-2, making Uruguay the first country to win the World Cup title. The Pope can't be an organ donor. Pope Benedict XVI was issued an organ donor card in 1970. Once he ascended to the papacy in 2005, the card was invalid, reports The Telegraph. According to the Vatican, the Pope's entire body must be buried intact because his body belongs to the Universal Catholic Church. Albert Einstein's eyeballs are in New York City. They were given to Henry Abrams and preserved in a safety deposit box. Abrams was Einstein's eye doctor. He received the eyeballs from Thomas Harvey, the man who performed the autopsy on Einstein and illegally took the scientist's brain for himself. Adult cats are lactose intolerant. Like some humans, adult cats don't have enough of the lactase enzyme to digest lactose from milk, causing them to vomit, have diarrhea, or get gassy. Cats only have enough of that enzyme when they're born and during the early years of their lives. Wimbledon tennis balls are kept at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature of a tennis ball affects how it bounces. At warmer temperatures, the gas molecules inside the ball expand, making the ball bounce higher. Lower temperatures cause the molecules to shrink and the ball to bounce lower. To make sure the best tennis balls are used, Wimbledon goes through more than 50,000 tennis balls each year. Bananas glow blue under black lights. To the everyday eye under normal conditions, ripe bananas appear yellow due to organic pigments called carotenoids. When bananas ripen, chlorophyll begins to break down. This pigment is the element that makes bananas glow, or fluoresce, under UV lights and appear blue. While this is definitely among the most interesting facts about bananas, we have another one that will make you want to eat a banana every day. Bees can make colored honey. In France, there's a biogas plant that manages waste from a Mars chocolate factory, where M&Ms are made. Beekeepers nearby noticed that their bees were making unnatural shades of green and blue honey. A spokesperson from the British Beekeepers Association theorized that the bees eating the sugary M&M waste caused the colored honey. Martin Luther King Jr. got a C in public speaking. The world remembers Dr. King as a leader of the civil rights movement, and people often quote his "I Have a Dream" speech, which he delivered in 1963, yet more than a decade before that legendary speech. While attending Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, he earned a C in public speaking during his first and second term. Pregnancy tests date back to 1350 before the Common Era. According to a document written on ancient papyrus, Egyptian women urinated on wheat and barley seeds to determine if they were pregnant or not, reports the Office of History in the National Institutes of Health. If wheat grew, it predicted a female baby. If barley grew, it predicted a male baby. The woman was not pregnant if nothing grew. Experimenting with this seed theory in 1963 proved it was accurate 70% of the time. Brad Pitt suffered an ironic injury on a film set in Troy, based on Homer's Iliad. Pitt plays the brave and buff Greek hero Achilles. Legend has it that Achilles could not be defeated unless hit in his heel. It's where we get the term Achilles heel, meaning a vulnerable point. While filming an epic battle scene, Pitt ironically hurt his Achilles tendon, an injury that set back the film's production by 2 months. Thomas Edison is the reason you love cat videos. After inventing the kintograph in 1892, Edison was able to record and watch moving images for the first time. He filmed short clips in his studio, some of which feature famous people like Annie Oakley and Buffalo Bill. But the real stars of these early videos are the boxing cats, adorable cats that he recorded in a boxing ring circa 1894. Nikola Tesla hated pearls. The electrical engineer paved the way for current system generators and motors. The way electricity gets transmitted and converted to mechanical power is thanks to his inventions. But despite his patience with scientific experimentation, he apparently had no tolerance for pearls. When his secretary wore pearl jewelry one day, he made her go home. Irish bars used to be closed on St. Patrick's Day. You might associate St. Patrick's Day with wearing green and drinking so much. You think you actually see leprechauns. But until 1961, there were laws in Ireland that banned bars from opening on March 17th. Since the holiday falls during the period of Lent in the heavily Catholic country, the idea of binge drinking seemed a bit immoral. Neil Armstrong's hair was sold in 2004 for $3,000. The lucky buyer, John Reznickoff, holds the Guinness World Record for the largest collection of hair from historical celebrities, reports NBC. But Armstrong's lawyers threatened to sue Mark Sizemore, the not-so-lucky barber who cut the former astronaut's hair. They said he violated an Ohio law that protects the rights of famous people. Sizemore said he wouldn't pay, and Reznickoff said he wouldn't give back the hair but that he'd donate $3,000 to charity. The MGM lion roar is trademarked. At the start of any movie made by the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer studio, the iconic lion roars at the audience. While MGM has gone through several iterations of lion mascots, the sound of the roar is always the same. The company trademarked the sound mark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office in the 1980s. Believe it or not, these famous phrases are also trademarked. 170-year-old bottles of champagne were found at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. The bottles of bubbly are believed to have been traveling from Germany to Russia during the 1800s when they sank to the bottom of the sea. According to New Scientist, it turns out that the bottom of the sea, where temperatures are between 2 and 4 degrees Celsius, is a great place for wine aging. Wine experts sampled the champagne and described it as sometimes cheesy with animal notes and elements of wet hair. May 20th, 1873 is the birthday of blue jeans. According to the Levi-Strauss Company, this was the day that Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis, the innovators behind the sturdy blue jeans we all love, got a patent on the process of adding metal rivets to men's denim work pants. The pants were called waist overalls until 1960, when baby boomers began calling them jeans. And FYI, this is why blue is the most popular denim color. The first stroller was engineered to be pulled by a goat or animal of similar size. William Kent, a landscape architect, invented the first stroller for the 3rd Duke of Devonshire in 1733. But upper-class parents were hardly expected to put effort into transporting their children around, so Kent designed his model to be pulled by a small animal, like a goat. Penicillin was first called mold juice. In 1928, bacteriologist Alexander Fleming left a petri dish in his lab while he was on vacation. only to return and find that some liquid around the mold had killed the bacteria in the dish. This became the world's first antibiotic, but before naming it penicillin, he called it mold juice. Here are more accidental discoveries that changed the world. South American river turtles talk in their eggs. Turtles don't have vocal cords, and their ears are internal, so scientists believe that turtles were deaf and didn't communicate through sounds. But research has found that turtles actually communicate at an extremely low frequency that sounds like clicks, clucks, and hoots that can only be heard through a hydrophone, which is a microphone used underwater. These sounds even come from the egg before the turtle hatches. Researchers hypothesize that this helps all the turtle siblings hatch at once. The British Empire was the largest empire in world history. The British Empire was most powerful in the 1920s, when it controlled 23% of the world's population and approximately 13.7 million square miles of territory, or nearly a quarter of the Earth's land area, according to a report from Statista. Uncle Ben's rice was airdropped to World War II troops. German chemist Erich Husenlaub invented a process of parboiling rice to keep more nutrients in the rice and lessen the cooking time. The Husenlaub process had another unexpected benefit. It stopped bug infestations. The quick cook, bug-free rice was a big advantage during World War II, and converted rice, as it was then known, was airdropped to American and British troops. After the war, the company rebranded itself and became Uncle Ben's original converted brand rice, named after one of the company's best rice suppliers. The product hit grocery store shelves in 1947. A woman called the police when her ice cream didn't have enough sprinkles. The West Midlands Police in England released a recording of a woman who called 999, the United Kingdom version of 911, because there were bits on one side and none on the other. She says in the recording, she was even more upset when the ice cream truck man did not want to give her money back. The French-language Scrabble world champion doesn't speak French. New Zealand native Nigel Richards memorized the entire French Scrabble dictionary, which has 386,000 words, in 9 weeks to earn his title. He has also won the English World Scrabble Championship 3 times, the United States National Championships 5 times, and the United Kingdom Open Scrabble Tournament 6 times. This comes 20 years after a 28-year-old Richards first played the game. The world's first novel ends mid-sentence. The Tale of Genji, written by Murasaki Shikibu in the 11th century, is considered the world's first novel. After reading 54 intricately crafted chapters, the reader is stopped abruptly mid-sentence. One translator believes the work is complete as is, but another says we're missing a few more pages of the story. The first commercial passenger flight lasted only 23 minutes. In 1914, Abram Fale paid $400, which would be $8,500 today, for a 23-minute plane ride. The Florida flight flew between St. Petersburg and Tampa, where only 21 miles of water separate the cities. Fale, a former mayor of St. Petersburg, and the pilot, Tony Janis, were the only passengers. This momentous flight paved the way for air travel as we know it. Speaking of which, baseball umpires used to sit in rocking chairs. People have been playing baseball since the mid-19th century. In the early days, umpires would officiate the games while reclining in a rocking chair located 20 feet behind home plate. By 1878, the National League also declared that home teams must pay umpires $5 per game. Boars wash their food. National Geographic reported that at Basel Zoo in Switzerland, zookeepers watched adult and juvenile wild boars pick up sandy apples and bring them to a nearby creek in their environment to wash before eating. Though some items like sugar beets were eaten without the human-like behavior, the boars brought a whole dead chicken to the creek to wash before chowing down. One ecologist called this a luxury behavior. A waffle iron inspired one of the first pairs of Nikes. Bill Bowerman was a track and field coach in the 1950s who didn't like how running shoes were made. He first created the Cortez shoe but wanted a sneaker that was even lighter and could be worn on a variety of surfaces. During a waffle breakfast with his wife in 1970, he came up with the idea of using the waffle texture on the soles of running shoes. Waffle-soled shoes made their big debut in the 1972 United States Olympic track and field trials in Eugene, Oregon. Your brain synapses shrink while you sleep. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin-Madison Center for Sleep and Consciousness studied mice to observe what happens to their brains while they sleep. Dr. Chiara Sirley and Dr. Giulio Tononi found an 18% decrease in the size of synapses after a few hours of sleep. Don't worry, though, this nighttime brain shrinkage actually helps your cognitive abilities. The inventor of the tricycle personally delivered two to Queen Victoria. In 1881, Queen Victoria was on a tour on the Isle of Wight when her horse and carriage could not keep up with a woman riding a tricycle. Intrigued by the bike, the Queen proceeded to order two. She also asked that the inventor, James Starley, arrive with the delivery. Though you might associate tricycles with toddlers, Queen Victoria made them cool among the elite at the time. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ron Wayne started Apple Inc. on April Fool's Day. The three technology innovators signed the documents to form the Apple Computer Company on April 1st, 1976, but the company was not fully incorporated until January 3rd, 1977. 30 years later, the company was renamed Apple Inc. And is no joke, in 2018, Apple became the country's first trillion-dollar company. Of course, computers have come a long way over the years. Here we have reached the end of this video. We hope you liked it. Please don't forget to support us by subscribing to the channel and liking the video so that we can continue to publish more. Thank you. See you in the next video.